Let's take a look from the air at how Quartermaster Harbor is divided in two by Burton Peninsula. It is prime real estate now, just as it was 1,000 years ago when the Shamamish people and their ancestors built permanent homes, hunted on the land, gathered berries, roots, and shellfish, and netted salmon running up the streams. We can also see how inviting it was to the early pioneers, with its safe harbor, forested lands, and ample fresh water. From here you can see the inner and outer harbors bisected by Burton Peninsula. The town of Burton is at the narrow neck of the peninsula, and Maury Island is to the left. Here's a look at Dockton. The large wharf is the site of Dockton Park, and the small community is located on the point of land. At the bottom of the image is, again, the town of Burton. Stretching in a crescent is Burton Beach and the western shoreline of outer Quartermaster Harbor. This shows the well-forested southern end of Vashon and undeveloped outer Quartermaster Harbor. Here you can see the marine layer filling Gig Harbor and the Narrows, with the wooded tip of Point Defiance Park. And finally, flying over Burton Hill and looking down into the inner harbor, you can just see the isthmus joining Vashon and Maury Islands. Back to terra firma and a story by Jill Andrews, whose family moved to Burton Beach in 1942. When I was 6 years old, I told my mother I wished we could live on a farm. When I was 7, my family moved to Burton on Vashon Island. It turned out to be so much better than a farm. Our house was up a gravel driveway through some big fir trees. There was a generous porch that faced out to Quartermaster Harbor. Steps at the far end of the yard led to the beach. Living near the beach offered endless opportunities for fun. Down the beach from our house was a creek that ran through logs out into the Sound. When I walked that way, I had to jump across the creek. There were so many charms to living on an island beach. Even though my dad was off in the military and I missed him, I loved living in such an interesting and unusual place. I also love looking for treasures on Burton Beach. As a marine biologist, most of those finds are living creatures, denizens of the sea, but sometimes a surprise visitor or two appears. Mary G. L. Shackelford, island resident since 1978 and community steward, describes her sense of the island as being a portal. Though defined by its clear physical boundary, the island is a place at the edge, nearly beyond that which is known. It takes me to that unbounded space that is neither here nor there, but both at once. We are in the here, now eternal, betwixt and between, where water laps shore as the tides rise and fall, where air licks ground with fogs and mists and standing rain, a liminal territory, suspended between land and sea, earth and stars, with access to the mysterious. We are at once here in this time, in this place, and we are also beckoned to enter beyond, to travel in numinous worlds. The island is a portal. The harbor should be experienced in all types of weather. Blustery winter winds, still spring mornings covered with a marine layer, foggy and gray fall afternoons, clear and sparkling blue summer days. Make friends with the residents of the sea, land, and sky. I recently volunteered for a beach restoration project with the Vashon Nature Center on the outer harbor shoreline. King County and University of Washington researchers are recording the natural changes that occur on a shoreline when armoring is removed. An armored shore protects the homes, but armoring shortcuts the natural ebb and flow of the tides. The natural habitats of large driftwood and wrack line, which are crucial for the upper tide zone food web, cannot form with armoring. The more armoring that can be removed, the more the harbor waters will improve, encouraging more forage fish and thus more seabirds and sea mammals. 3 cheers for citizen scientists. Dorothy Hall Bauer began visiting this piece of the island in the 1920s and called it, quote, her piece of heaven. This is a lovely portrait of Dorothy painted by well-known island artist Pam Ingalls. The piece of beach across from Manzanita that my grandpa Stove bought in the early 1920s was my kind of heaven. It was 20 acres of slide-prone forest with no road or dock. In those early years, Mother, Dad, and my 3 sisters piled into a Point Defiance double-oared boat and rowed across to the island. We rowed a lot in those days. We rowed across the bay to the Manzanita Provisionary, and we rowed to the Baptist Spit. One summer, we girls rowed all the way around the island in our leaky double-oared boat, changing rowers every half hour. We built our own raft every summer and swam and dove, making wide room for the poisonous jellyfish. Mother didn't swim much, but she took her bath on mornings when the sun was high over Mount Rainier. I can see her now in her green and black striped woolen bathing suit, stepping carefully over the sharp stones. Those days are gone now, but I can still feel the slippery slugs under my bare feet, the prickly itch of nettles on my skin, and the feel of power with each pull of the oar.